Recording in progress.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Lynchburg. We are glad you are here. Whoever you are, whatever your beliefs, whatever your age, and whomever you love, you are welcome here. As we work together for justice, compassion, and peace, we also acknowledge with humility that our buildings sit on Monacan land. My name is Courtney Senna. I'm the Director of Lifespan Engagement for this congregation. If you are with us for the first time, we are glad you chose to be here this morning to participate in the service for this congregation we love. If you would like to receive our monthly newsletter and Friday email updates, please fill out the virtual visitor card found on our website at uulynchburg.org under Sunday Services, or fill out the yellow card found in the back of the chair in front of you and place it in the offering basket during the offering. Happy Father's Day to all those who mentor and nurture young people. We offer a particular greeting to our Generosity Sunday representative, Heather Gibson from Parkview Community Mission. We look forward to hearing about the good work Parkview does in our community. Welcome, Heather. Now, I invite us to release our worries about the world and our own lives as we enter into the service by taking some slow, calming breaths.
It's wonderful to be together this morning, and let's take a moment. Zoomies, if you'll say good morning to the people who are roomies, and roomies, if you'll say hello to our Zoomies. It's wonderful to be gathered together through time and space and airwaves. Good morning. As we light our chalice, let us share together our chalice lighting words. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, O Spirit of life. I invite us now to rise in body or spirit as we share our opening hymn, number 346, Come Sing a Song with Me. as Courtney said earlier, our Generosity Sunday recipient is Parkview Community Mission. And their director, who's a colleague and friend, Todd Blake, and he's come a couple of times, is now preaching at another congregation on Sunday mornings. But we're so glad, Heather, that you could be here with us to tell us a bit about the wonderful and important work of Parkview Mission.
Okay. I cribbed some small notes this morning before I came in. So Parkview, if you've never been there, is located in Midtown in what used to be the Parkview United Methodist Church. And we were started, the choir used to meet on Wednesday nights and have a covered dish dinner. And one night, our good friend David came knocking on the door and he said, "I'm hungry, can I have dinner?" So they fed him, and then the next week he brought friends, and out of that grew our original program, which is the Parkview Cafe. We're currently serving about 125 dinners to the community every Wednesday night. And everything is varied. We had a cookout 2 weeks ago. Last week was sandwiches. I'm not sure yet what this week is, but I think it's another cookout because it's summertime and we put tables, for cookouts, we'll put tables outside and let people just enjoy it, though it might be a little too hot this week for that, since a lot of the people who come to the Wednesday night dinner are older or have health issues, so we'll probably put them inside now that I think about it, just for safety's sake. I'm the director of our Food for Families program. We're open every Thursday and Saturday from 9:30 until 2 p.m. And if you need groceries, come on by. We'll give you a shopping cart and you get to go and pick your own food, it's the client choice model, but we call everybody who walks through our door a neighbor, whether they're a volunteer, a donor, or somebody using our services. And sometimes 2 out of the 3, it goes either way. I got a regular volunteer who once a month hands me a check, and I've got a good chunk of my volunteers who use our services because they don't have enough food or they need clothes. So our programs are the Parkview Cafe, Food for Families. We served 368 families last week, 184 on Thursday, 162 yesterday, and we partner with Meals on Wheels to deliver meals once a month to people who can't make it in to us, and they delivered 22 on Friday. Food for Thought, which during the school year gives bags of food to elementary school kids who don't, if their guidance counselor is afraid that they're not getting food on the weekend, they can get a food bag to take home. And then in all the middle schools and the city high schools, we have food pantries, because by the time you hit 11, peer pressure is kind of more of a thing, and so therefore they can go in and choose what they want and stick it in their backpack, and no one has to know that they got food that way. We have the Community Resource Center, which helps with utility and rental bills. We also partner with CAN to help people who need housing, and a variety of other things that if one of our main programs, if it's something besides food, clothing, we have connections throughout the city to get you those other things you need. We have the Life Skills Institute, which does career and life classes, everything from how to write a resume, they'll take you through an interview process in practice for getting a job, but they'll help you find a job. And then we also teach a class on the Renter's Guide to Success. If you've been homeless and have just gotten into housing, you kind of need to know how to treat your neighbors, how not to get into fights with people, what your lease actually says that your responsibilities are and what their responsibilities to you are, and how to keep it clean, particularly if you've got like a housing voucher or you're in Section 8 housing. They're going to inspect your apartment on a regular basis, and you got to make sure you're meeting those standards. And then our Clothing Connection just reopened because our previous director left, and then it took us a while to find a new one. But we're open once a week for clothing to come in and shop. If you need something in the meantime, you can just knock on the door and they'll help you during the week. We also do clothing if you've got a job interview coming up, if you need clothes to get you through a week's worth of work, when you've started a new job and you don't have anything appropriate. And if you have a court case coming up, or even for like a wedding or a funeral, we will cover all your clothing needs as needed. And that's really all we do at Parkview. It's a lot of outreach, and some days it's just talking to people and hearing their stories and letting them know that there's somebody there who listens and cares.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
I'm always amazed by the number of people who pass through the doors of Parkview Mission and the ways in which helpers in our community can make a difference in the lives of so many people. So thank you. Today we take in, I think we've got kids. Today we take an offering of our gifts, both for the work of our community and also for the important work of Parkview Mission. And if you would like your donation to go to Parkview Mission, please put it in the memo field if you're writing a check, or if you're online and you're paying by PayPal, you can put that in the memo. And we appreciate your generous gifts. They are gratefully received, both for us and for Parkview. So ladies, thank you for helping us this morning. Thank you for your help. It's our tradition to share together the joys.
Recording in progress.
Spirit of life and love, we hold up today the wonder and mystery of life, the full, broad spectrum of human feelings, emotions, relationships. Today, we think especially of those who have lost loved ones, for Paul and Calvin, and so many other people who are grieving during this time. We hold up also all the chances and changes of life, the milestones, including Malia's first birthday, and those who are coming into the world. We know that building a better world starts in our own hearts, in our own lives. And so may we work to understand what we need to do, the relationships that we need to build that are filled with trust and support and hope and commitment and justice. May we have the courage to live with integrity and commitment. This we ask in the name of all that is sacred. Amen. One of the basic aspects of human relationships is the need for trust. Charles Felton, in his book, The Thin Book of Trust, an essential primer for building trust at work, offers these definitions of trust and distrust. Trust is choosing to risk making something you value vulnerable to another person's actions. And distrust is deciding that what is important to me is not safe with this person in this situation, or perhaps in any situation. We learn trust from birth by the actions of those around us. Can we trust adults to take care of me? Is it safe to be with them? As we get older, our circle of people expands, and in that expanded world, we again learn who can be trusted, and sadly, for too many children, who is not to be trusted and who is not a safe person. Lessons in trust become part of learning how to be human in society. We want to trust others, and we want to be trustworthy. So, Brene Brown is somebody a lot of us know about, and she's talked a good deal about trust. She began her exploration in response to an experience that her daughter had in elementary school. Now, have any of y'all who may still be in elementary school or just got out of elementary, have you ever had a situation where you got so upset because somebody was teasing you? Yeah, it could happen at home if you have older siblings too. But Brene Brown's daughter came home from school one day and she said, "I'm never gonna trust anyone ever again." She had had a terrible day at school because people she thought were her friends teased her, and she was so upset. I mean, they were really rough to her. So I think Brene Brown's mama instincts emerged, but she held it together. What's interesting is that the daughter's teacher had a marble jar in the classroom as a mechanism for the children to learn to treat one another with kindness. It didn't work well on the day Brene Brown's daughter had her experience, but learning kindness is a process. Have y'all ever been told we need to be kind, and then there's some people it's really hard to be kind to? Do you know people like that maybe in your class? When the children in her class cooperated or did something nice for someone, the teacher put a marble in the jar. If things didn't go well or people weren't being kind to each other in class, a marble was taken out. When the jar was full of marbles, the class had a celebration. So Brene Brown talks about how the marble jar can be a symbol of trust. So I invite our children and Young at Heart, and Kaimana, I think you had something you wanted to say. Did you, or you were just holding up your hand? Oh, okay.
Good morning. So, we have a really nice marble jar here. Have you ever seen a jar of marbles like that? Does anybody's classroom do the marble jar activity?
In third grade, my teacher did something where she taped a paper circle with a caterpillar face drawn on it on the wall, when something good happened in the class, like everybody got good grades on a test, or somebody helped another person, then she put a circle on the caterpillar, and it stretched all the way around the room, and when we got to one corner, we had a celebration.
That's amazing.
Ooh, that sounds
So we were
fun.
just hearing in this classroom, they put a caterpillar face on the wall, and every time someone did something good in class or got a good grade or anything like that, they would add a circle to the caterpillar's body, and it would stretch all the way around the room. And when they reached one of the corners, they would have a celebration. Did anybody else's class do anything like that to show how you were all doing well? Yeah.
We did, on the 100th day of school, we did do a cheese puff.
Yeah, what was your cheese puff thing on the 100th day of school?
We tried to see if there was more than over 100 cheese puffs in the jar.
Okay,
And there was a lot more than that.
was there? So you had a jar of cheese puffs in your class.
And we got to eat them all.
That sounds delicious. It's probably yummier to eat cheese puffs than to eat marbles, I'm guessing.
Take me to her school, Mama. Take me to her school.
Yeah, that sounds like fun, doesn't it? So this jar that we have can help us remember when our friends and family do things that are kind and help us trust them. So we can even start our own marble jars at home. And anytime we're kind with one another, we can put a marble in the jar and see if you can fill up the marbles all the way at your house. And they can be really simple things. If someone offers a hug when you're feeling sad, or is there to listen to you, or maybe helps you tie your shoes, or maybe they do one of your chores for you. There's so many ways that we can show kindness to one another. And then you can just work on filling up your jar. So let's take a minute, close your eyes if you need to, and think about your family and friends and how kindness can help us build trust in one another. And think about a time when someone was kind to you and it made your relationship with them feel stronger. Your friendship got stronger, or you felt closer to your brother or your sister, or you felt like things were being more kind. So try to think of a time when that happened in your life. And when you think of one and you're ready, you can come choose a marble out of the big bowl at the bottom and drop it down into the jar. And we're going to see if we can get our jar full of marbles today. All right. Time on.
That was loud.
Yeah,
It was loud.
because we have glass marbles and a glass jar. Yes. Is this, there we go. All right, Kaimana, can you share what your trust marble was for? Do you want to tell me?
It was when there's a lot of times I've been kind to people. Just pick one.
It's hard to remember. It's hard to remember exactly what it was for. That's okay. Yeah, you have lots of times of kindness flowing in your head. That's okay. All right, who else is ready to share one? Okay, Nora.
That mic isn't on.
All right, how about there? Better? Okay.
That's better. Yeah.
All right, Nora, tell us about your marble. You invited Kaimana to your house for a sleepover. That was a kind thing to do. All right, Marielle, you want to do one? Want to share yours?
My marble was for when my friend Zephyr lent me his book because it was a really interesting book, and I thought it was very nice of him.
That was very nice of him. Thank you for sharing. I like when friends share books with me too.
I remember what.
Awesome. Share with us, Kaimana.
It was when I helped someone pick up something. I don't remember what we were picking up, but oh yeah, it was at school, and my friend dropped their crayons, and I helped them because and they were sitting next to me, so I just helped asked them if they wanted help, and they said yes. So I just helped them.
That was so nice of you. It's very nice to help our friends when they need to clean something up. All right, Alex.
Okay, so let me see here. All right. So the first time we went to SeaWorld in December, I got some souvenirs for my friends Kai West and Lona Jones.
That was so kind of you to think of your friends while you were on a trip. All right, Eliza, do you have one you want to do? Not yet. You're going to think on it a little more. That's fine. You can do it at the end of service if you want. All right.
Sharing some of these special moments that helped you learn how to trust people. And it's wonderful to have family and friends we love and we can trust. And those times are like receiving a big hug. Even when somebody, it's like a big hug that, Nora, you and Kaimana got to spend the night together, and that you do nice things for your friends. It's like a hug. So now I'm inviting y'all to go back to the table back there with, whoa, wait a minute, Nora, because y'all are gonna do some marble art. Marble has a lot of purposes. And you can make a piece of art for somebody you want to do something special or kind for. So now you can travel to the back of the room. Thank you. So our children have shared some memories, whole memories or partial memories, of kind acts that helped them trust their friends or help their friends trust them. And we adults could use some similar reminders of what it means to trust and be trusted, if only our relationships were that simple. Trust is a huge concern in our entire society today because trust is lacking or broken in areas of our lives. We need to live in a way that we can trust those around us to be people worthy of trust. So let's hear again Charles Feltman's definition of trust. Trust is choosing to risk making something you value vulnerable to another person's actions. Let's think for a moment about what kinds of acts we might consider worthy of adding a marble into the trust jar. Often acts are seemingly small, but important and powerful. These events are so important for our well-being because every one of us needs family members and friends who are marble jar kinds of friends. And thinking about trust may also bring up memories of times when we deeply trusted someone who betrayed our trust. And thinking of trust might bring up memories when we were the people who betrayed the trust of somebody we cared about. Okay, David, do you mind putting up that picture of the marble jar? So here's what marbles in a jar. This is the marble jar way to build trust and relationships. Well, on the deposit side, it's show genuine interest, keep your promises, seek the other person's input or opinion, show appreciation, give your time, have a person's back when they need it. Be vulnerable, be present, listen with empathy. Now, the side that I got a little hung up on are the withdrawals. And I was trying to think, are the deposits and the withdrawals of equal weight in our lives? So breaking trust is to break confidentiality, to take people for granted, have unreasonable expectations of others, always be the one who dominates conversations, take and not give or share, cancel or reschedule catch-ups often, and consistency is key in order to fill up the jar. So when I look at this picture, as I said, it seems much easier to offer acts of care than it is to rebuild trust after it's broken. The breaking of trust is painful, and sadly, we've all experienced loss of trust, and most of us have broken trust with others. So in thinking of this image in relation to our own lives, I invite you to share an experience or event that may have been really small, because the key to trust is it's not usually big things that happen, but small things that help you realize you can really count on another person. So, who can think of something that they would like to add to the marble jar? Now, I thought of something this week, and it probably was not as big a deal for her as it was for me, but Jan was kind enough to hem a skirt for me. I'm not good at that kind of domestic stuff. So that was a really big thing that I'm like, okay, this is a person I can really count on. Can people think of some other things? We're trustless. We don't know about things that, Barb.
My sister-in-law let us sleep at her place. They're on short notice.
Oh, okay, so your sister-in-law let y'all sleep at her place at short notice, and you didn't have to sleep in the camper. That's a big thing. That maybe needs 2 marbles. Whoa! Are there some other things?
I've got one.
Okay.
Yeah, we were fortunate when Hannah got back from down here after school, after she finished her school year. She visited us, and she helped Anne by, was it she darned to tell her what she did? She sewed a button on for me, for each of us, yeah.
And something else anyway. She did, since I can't see to do any fine work anymore, she did some of those repair things that we needed done. Of course, she was also learning to sew at the same time because she had never had that experience. So I was teaching her and she was learning and helping me.
That's wonderful. So Hannah really has been both receiving your teaching, which is a wonderful gift, and also repairing, as she learns, repairing things that needed sewing or stitching or repair.
Right?
Is there anything else that people want to share? Betty?
Mike's not on.
I'm going to repeat it. Okay. So Betty has great trust in Michael because when she's overcommitted, Michael is kind enough to have her back and bail her out. That's a big one. So as you can, oh yes, Molly. Yeah, Molly really appreciates the fact that she was able to have lunch with two friends whose friendships go back to the late 60s, and that was a real gift. I think as we, yes.
This is Dick Bain. Hey, I just want to say that a lot of people know that I'm in a wheelchair these days, and I am very grateful for all the things that my wife and our daughter do that I'm not able to do anymore, and they're very, very, very helpful for me.
That's
So,
wonderful. So
and I really trust them.
yeah,
Thanks.
that's really beautiful. So I'm going to put a marble in for each of them who are so supportive of helping you with care since you're in a wheelchair now. That's beautiful. Teresa. And she listened to you? That's wonderful. So let's put one in for Rosemary. I'm going to find a colorful marble for you, Teresa, since you do all this colorful beadwork. It's wonderful to have friends you can talk to on the phone and who listen to you. So I think if we sat here for a while, we could end up filling up that jar, because the reality is we're fortunate enough to be able to have people in our lives who are trustworthy and being trustworthy. So in thinking about that image in relation to our lives, and looking at research that I did for this service, I found some important lessons that Brené Brown talked about in her research on trust. She states that when we have the courage to trust, then we are braving connection with another. So I think she has put together the braving acronym that makes a lot of sense. And when you talk about braving, first, it begins with boundaries. How many of us, especially Southerners, which I can say because I'm a Southerner, we want to be nice to everybody, so we're not as good about boundaries with relationships. But we need to be clear about what we need in relationships and what is non-negotiable in our relationships with others. That's key. Boundaries. Reliability. Do you do what you say you're going to do? And you do it over and over again. Can people rely on you to follow through? Third is accountability. I can trust you only if you make a mistake and then you say, I made a mistake. You own up to your mistake, apologize, and make amends. You are accountable for your actions. Vault, and this isn't jumping over something. It means what I share with you, you will hold in confidence and vice versa. And Brene Brown talks about one common betrayal, which is when friends share our personal, often intimate information as a means for the person they're sharing with to then develop their own common enemy, what she calls common enemy intimacy. So you are sharing my intimate information with this other person, so the two of you can be against me, which is very destructive. Integrity. Wow, what an important word. Choosing courage over comfort, choosing what's right over what's fast or easy, living your values. Non-judgment. I can fall apart with you and not feel like you're going to judge me. You can hear gossip about me without taking it as reality, and you just ask me, what is this about? Generosity, when something happens, you will make a generous assumption about what happened. Assume positive regard. So we have boundaries, reliability, accountability, the vault, integrity, non-judgment, and generosity. This braving definition helps us understand both how to nurture trust for others, as well as how to trust ourselves. There's so many times when we don't trust ourselves. This is important because we can't really trust others if we don't trust ourselves. Just like we can't truly love someone else if we don't love ourselves. Trust is essential to creating meaning and connection in our lives. If we can't trust our key relationships, it's almost impossible to truly bond with another person. Considering these aspects of trust, we might want to periodically look at our relationships to prioritize the place that authentic, trusting relationships have in our lives. Trusting relationships are also important in the communities we choose for ourselves. Our congregation is created and nurtured by the relationships among us. Each of us has a responsibility to live out and uphold the principles of our faith to the best of our ability. And part of that is by building authentic trust within our congregation. That can sometimes be complex in a community whose members hold a wide variety of beliefs and see the world from different perspectives. Together, we are continually learning how to trust one another, how to disagree in healthy ways, and at times, how to rebuild trust among one another. So I think this is a nice time to invite our children back up here. I'm not sure how much paint they have on them, just telling y'all, but they've had fun. So our children are learning from us as well as their families about how to develop trusting relationships. Each of us needs to help set healthy boundaries within our community, live with integrity, be reliable in our relationships and responsibilities, assume positive intent rather than judge, be trustworthy and generous. When we do all these in our community, as well as in our individual lives, we can trust our heart to be open and giving. And our closing hymn is one of Courtney's favorites, and she said we usually sing it when she's upstairs with the kids, so we had to sing it today for Courtney. Let us rise and body your spirit in the teal hymnal number 1008. As our service draws to a close, we extinguish the flame of our chalice as we say these words together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we rise together again. And friends who are roomies today, let's wave goodbye to our Zoomies. Zoomies, can you wave goodbye? We've got some enthusiastic wavers today. That's great. Our closing benediction comes from the Reverend Audette Fulbright Folson, who's the new minister at the Asheville, North Carolina congregation.
Thank you very much.
Rise this morning with weariness and pain.
Back in the day.
And with weariness and pain and rage, tattered from waving too long in a brutal world. Get up, child. Pull your bones upright. I know you wish the work were done, but remember this, tired as you are not alone. Blessed be. Thank you. Go in love and go in peace. And from what I understand, there's a wonderful selection of goodies for social time today.